Hey, I'm Bryce, and I am talking today a little bit about what I mean when I'm talking about outsider chaplaincy. So, I've been thinking about outsiders chaplaincy for at least a few years now. What does it look like to be a chaplain in the outdoor active community or with people who might otherwise feel like the outdoors is off limits to them, or those who maybe need the outdoors or use the outdoors to address their mental health issues, um, and to maybe give them the tools to walk through life well. So this is essentially what I've been looking at. I've got some friends who have really enjoyed the outdoors. Some of them have struggled to maybe make a entrance into that space or to feel as though that is theirs to be a part of. That really frustrated me because I've gotten a lot of my inspiration and a lot of uh, my personal uplifting, the things that fill my life have come from being in the outdoors. Um, and it really struck me that these spaces need to be made more available culturally, um, for those who don't feel that they can take part in that. Some of this is like, we talk about things in a certain way. We show images of people with certain kind of understandings of what their success levels are or what their backgrounds are, what their heritage is, etc. And for those who maybe don't fit those categories, this has become an off limit space because they aren't depicted in it. It doesn't mean that you know that uh, we automatically just jump to showing only other demographics, but we've been pretty much a monoculture of similar shaped people, shaped images of people, and our language has been wrapped around those people. I'm going to say men. Men are a big one. We got 50-50, and I'm going to say I'm one of them. Um, People who often look like me and sound like me and have a lot of my background uh, are typically the ones who get it the most. They get the most airtime. Uh, and so those who don't fit this category need to be made space for. Um, I think part of that is like we just need to tell the story differently. We've got a particular narrative we've been working through, and we need to shape that differently. We need to shift that up. And there are other groups that are doing that really well, but we need people who are willing to stand in that space and to say, we need more people to stand in that space, to say we stand for others to take this place on. And I'm playing off that term outsiders in a big way. So we enjoy the outside, we enjoy the outdoors, we enjoy nature, and we enjoy creation and seeing what the Creator has given us in that space, and the wonder of being on the top of a mountain, or even just looking into a really deep canyon and going, wow, this is way beyond me. There's so much here. Um, on that note, I just heard about the black climbing team that is the first all black climbing team that made it to the summit of Everest. And in Outsiders magazine, there's something that says 20 years ago I stopped talking to God. I stopped praying. And on the summit of Everest, that all changed as I recognized there was something beyond me that was drawing me into this space. And I think this is all part of the outsiders insiders thing. Another thing was the mental health aspect of being in the outdoor space. Richard Louv, I'm looking up the book on my bookshelf that's talking about it. He talks about how being in green spaces and natural spaces has a clinically recognized benefit to those who are struggling with their mental health, they're struggling with their ability to cope with the stresses and anxieties of life. And part of the issue there is there are so many people who they don't know what it is or what they need in order to be able to go into that space. There was a story, I think it was last year after COVID, where there's a bunch of people who went up Snowdon, I think it was, all wearing stilettos, and mountain rescue had to be called, and um, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a ridiculous sort of thing, isn't it? You don't go up in stilettos. You go up in stuff that's built for the space. Quiet. Uh, so if you're one of those people who doesn't know what to go up in, you need someone to stand in that space to say, let's make this accessible to you and I'll help you to know how. Um, that's a brilliant space to be in. That's one of those cool places where you are opening a massive door. It's like you're opening the door to Narnia, and you're helping people to walk into this new world where the mountaintop experiences are now open to not just the select few who can get there, but to everybody, because you're making it so everybody can get there with you. Um, another group was the mountain professionals, the outdoor professionals. I've known some people who are so driven in in their experiences of the outdoors, in being in that space, that they almost use it in talking about the mental health side of things in the same way as someone who's properly going out of their way to harm themselves. They use it as an escape, which sometimes is helpful and good, and sometimes it's incredibly harmful. Um, there are aspects of it where people will overwork themselves. They'll finish a day of work and they'll drive 5 hours, then they'll hike for 5 hours, and then it's 3 in the morning, and they finally get in their bivy bag. They sleep for a couple of hours until sunrise, and then they go to the mountaintop for sunrise, and then they hike for another 10 hours. They do a difficult climbing ascent at some point because they've carried all their kit, and then they come down, and that's their weekend done, and they start the next Monday with no breaks, and that's the weekend warrior thing, going to town, going like great guns. And those people also need another escape, not so much from the mountains. They're in the mountains. They almost need an escape from themselves. And so having somebody who is in that space, who's willing to say, hey, how are you doing today? You all right? Oh, I remember seeing you at that other place. Are things going okay? I remember we had that chat. And those are those conversations where you begin to connect people with the experience of the space, and begin to recognize kind of the depth of what those spaces represent to those people, and how life is being addressed in the same way. Maybe things are avoided in order to get from one place to another. You don't see the journey, you don't see the space, you're just doing the journey, getting from here to there. And a lot of people treat life in the same way, and we need people to speak to that. Um, and then there's the other people who, yeah, they're mountain professionals, but they're doing it because this is what they do. Um, I've got a massive heart, massive kind of, I've got a big, feeling right in my throat that always comes up whenever I talk about mountain rescue, or people who are in the mountains whose goal is to care for others in that space, whether it's rescue or guiding companies, recreational or otherwise. And those people also need a whole lot more attention than I think we give them. We talk to people in those roles, those capacities, and they often will talk about the gallows humor that comes up because of the horrible thing they saw, or that one time that such and such happened, and I mean the guy died, but ... And you realize that for some people, this ball must have dropped somewhere. This idea that their mortality is only this far away, their death is just there, and so they have to laugh it off, and they almost have to forget that is an issue in order to get through things. And we need people to recognize that, and to be in the space where we can reflect on these things well, and we can begin to discuss, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be in this role? What does that represent to others? And what are you in it for? And can we see the value of sacrifice and life lived in these spaces through what you're doing? Let's talk about that. Let's make that a thing. And ultimately, what I would love to see, well, all these are kind of the general roles that I feel like a chaplain in these spaces could take. Um, what I'd like to see is a network of people who are all out there, all in these spaces, um, taking part in what I feel we are called to as followers of Jesus. Um, what I am, I'm a follower of Jesus. I try and follow who he was, what he did, and what he was calling people to, um, and to begin looking for those things, signs of those things in all that we're doing. Um, I was really inspired by was it Amira Wanderlust? I think it is. It's the Wanderlust women. She's Muslim, and she wears the full head covering and the veil, and she's in this space, and people. I think I remember her saying in a British Mountaineering Council video, she was saying that people have said, well, but don't you miss your prayers when you're up there? And she says, no, I bring my prayer mat, and I point towards Mecca and I pray in that space. And she has this recognition of the creator in the creation, and working through and involved in this creation that we all live in and move in and breathe in. And that really speaks volumes to me. That says these spaces are more real than anything that we can fabricate in our lives here in civilized urban environments or whatever. Um, and as people of faith or no faith, atheist, agnostic, or otherwise, um, there is a something about being in that space that is beyond us, that maybe we need to recognize better. We need to recognize more deeply. And this is what I want to, as I put it, make a thing. We need to make this real. We need to realize this in our conversations. We need to realize this in our interactions and in the things that we invest our time and efforts into. So with that said, I'm going to finish my 15-minute video here. If you are interested in joining me in this project, please send me a message. Look me up on Instagram. It's one of the best ways, or on Facebook. If you know me, my name is Bryce Tengvald, and probably this is on YouTube, my name is going to be in the channel heading. So look me up on YouTube and send me a message, and I'd love to get in touch with you and chat with you about what this could look like in your context. More to come in the future, so stay tuned, and I look forward to hearing from you, whoever you are.